I was organizing Dad's medication when he asked me to sit down. His voice had that quality, thin, like paper tearing. The hospice nurse had left 20 minutes earlier, and the afternoon light through the curtains made everything look staged, unreal. He'd been saying strange things all week. Moments of clarity mixed with morphine confusion. I assumed this was more of the same. "Sarah, I need to tell you something before I go." I pulled the chair closer to his bed. His hand found mine, and I remember thinking how light it felt. Hollow-boned, like holding a bird. "Dad, you don't have to." "I do." His eyes were clearer than they'd been in days. "That should have warned me. About your mother. About you." The room was so quiet I could hear the oxygen concentrator humming. I thought he was going to tell me something sweet, something I could hold on to after he was gone. Maybe that Mom had left me a letter. Maybe that he was proud of me. The mind does that, fills in blanks with even when the context screams otherwise. "You're not mine." Biologically, I mean. The words didn't land right away. They hovered in the air between us like something I could bat away if I moved fast enough. I actually laughed. A short, confused sound. "What?" "Your mother had an affair. Late 1982, early 1983. She told me when she was 4 months pregnant. Said she'd ended it, that he didn't know, that she wanted to make our marriage work." His breathing was labored, but he pushed through. Like he'd been holding this for so long that stopping now would kill him faster than the cancer. "I agreed to stay. To raise you as mine." I pulled my hand back. The chair made a scraping sound against the floor that seemed too loud, too normal for what was happening. "You're confused." "The medication." "I'm not confused, Sarah. I wish I were." He tried to sit up slightly, winced. His name was Michael Hendricks. He worked at the insurance firm where your mother was a receptionist. He died 3 years ago. Heart attack. I checked. 3 years ago. While I was celebrating my promotion. While I was buying my condo. While I was living my life, this man, my father, my actual father, had died, and I'd never known he existed. "Why are you telling me this?" My voice sounded strange. Distant. "Why now?" "Because I want you to forgive me." That's when I felt it. Not sadness. Not shock anymore. Anger. It started in my chest and spread like spilled water, soaking into everything. "Forgive you for what, exactly?" "For not loving you the way I should have." His eyes were wet. 41 years, and I'd never seen my father cry. I tried, Sarah. God, I tried. But every time I looked at you, I saw him. Saw what she did. You were just a child, and you deserved better, and I couldn't get past it. The room tilted slightly. All those memories I'd spent years in therapy processing, reframing, accepting, they were reshuffling like a deck of cards, each one showing a different face now. Every birthday where he'd seemed distracted. Every school event where he'd shown up but felt absent. Every time I'd convinced myself that some people just aren't demonstrative, that his love was quiet, that I was enough. You knew the whole time. My voice was flat. 38 years. You knew, and you stayed, and you let me think something was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with you. I spent 15 years thinking I was unlovable. The words came out louder than I intended. I dated men who treated me like I was optional because that's what I learned from you. I thought it was normal to always feel like I was failing some test I couldn't see. He flinched. Good. Let him hurt. Sarah, please. Did Mom know you couldn't love me? Did you tell her, or did she just watch it happen? She knew. His voice cracked. We fought about it. For years. She begged me to try harder, to get help, to fake it better. I thought I was faking it. I thought you didn't notice. Children always notice. They just blame themselves. I stood up. The chair nearly tipped over. I need to leave. Sarah, wait. Why did you tell me? I was at the door, hand on the frame. You're dying. You could have just died, and I would have had my grief, and it would have been clean. But you needed absolution more than I needed peace. I thought you deserved to know the truth. No. I turned back to look at him. This man who'd driven me to soccer practice and paid for my college and walked me down the aisle at my wedding. This stranger. You thought you deserved to be forgiven. You made this about you. Even this. Even now. I left before he could respond. The hospice nurse was coming back up the walkway, and I brushed past her with some excuse about needing air. I sat in my car for 40 minutes before I could turn the key. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. He died 6 days later. I was there, because what else do you do? You show up. You hold the hand of the man who raised you, even if he never wanted to. Even if every moment of your childhood was a performance he couldn't quite pull off. The funeral was small. Dad had outlived most of his friends, and I'm an only child, a phrase that suddenly felt loaded with new meaning. I stood in the receiving line at the memorial home, shaking hands with neighbors and distant cousins, accepting condolences that felt like they were for someone else's loss. He was so proud of you, Mrs. Peterson from 2 doors down told me, squeezing my hands. Always talked about your career. Did he? Or was that another performance? How do you know which memories are real when the foundation collapses? My ex-husband came, which was kind. We divorced amicably 3 years ago, no kids, different life goals, the usual story. He hugged me in that careful way people do when they're not sure how fragile you are. You holding up? David asked. I don't know what I'm holding, I said, and he didn't push. The lawyer called 4 days after the burial. Dad's estate was straightforward, the house, some savings, a decent life insurance policy. Everything to me. Because legally, I was his daughter. Because he'd signed the papers and paid the bills and done all the things fathers do, even while resenting every minute. There's also a box, the lawyer mentioned. He left specific instructions that you should go through it alone. It's in his office, top shelf of the closet. I almost didn't go. Almost sold the house as is, contents included, and just walked away. But I kept thinking about that box. What else could he possibly need to confess? The house felt wrong without him. Not sad, exactly. Just empty in a way that emphasized how empty it had always been. I'd grown up in these rooms, but there were no photos of me on the walls. A few from my wedding, obligatory and formal. Nothing from childhood. I'd noticed that before, asked Mom about it once. She'd said something vague about a flood in the basement, photos lost. Another lie. The box was exactly where he said it would be. Cardboard, taped shut, my name written on top in his careful handwriting. Inside, documents. Medical records from Mom's pregnancy. A letter from a lawyer about paternity and legal rights. Photos of a man I'd never seen, dark hair, kind eyes, laughing in someone's backyard. Michael Hendricks. My father. Dead before I knew to look for him. There was a letter, too. Addressed to me, dated 2 weeks before Dad's confession. Sarah. Asterisk if you're reading this, I told you. I went back and forth 1,000 times about whether I should. Your mother made me promise I never would. She died believing you'd never know, and maybe that was kinder. But I'm a coward, and I need you to understand why I failed you, asterisk. Asterisk I want to say it wasn't your fault, but you know that. Intellectually, you know it. I hope you know it in your bones, too, though I doubt it. I saw how you moved through the world, always trying to earn love, never quite believing it when you got it. I did that to you. Me and my inability to separate you from what your mother did, asterisk. Asterisk Michael Hendricks was a good man. I hated him anyway. He didn't know about you, your mother never told him, and I made sure it stayed that way. He married someone else, had 2 daughters. You have half-sisters. I've included what information I could find, but I don't know if you'll want to contact them. That's your choice, asterisk. Asterisk, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. But I need you to know that my failure wasn't about you. You were a bright, funny, affectionate child, and you deserved a father who could see that without looking through the lens of his own pain. I'm sorry I couldn't be that person, asterisk. Asterisk, the house is yours. The money is yours. It won't make up for anything, but it's what I have to give, asterisk. Asterisk, I hope you find peace. I never did, asterisk. Robert. I read it 3 times. Then I put it back in the box and closed the lid. What was I supposed to do with that? He was right, he didn't deserve forgiveness. But he was also dead, and rage needs a target. I found Michael Hendricks' daughters on Facebook that night. 3 glasses of wine deep, sitting on my couch in the dark, scrolling through their lives. Jennifer and Amanda. 37 and 35. They looked like him. Like me, maybe, around the eyes. Jennifer had 3 kids. Amanda was a teacher, married, posted a lot about her rescue dogs. They had their father their whole lives. They got the version of him that wasn't shadowed by my existence. And now he was gone, and I could appear like a ghost, disrupt their grief with information they'd never asked for, or I could just close the window and go to bed. I closed the window. The next few weeks blurred together. I took bereavement leave from work, which was generous considering I spent most of it staring at walls. Friends called. I didn't answer. What would I say? My father died, and also he wasn't my father, and also my mother lied to everyone for 40 years, and also I have sisters who don't know I exist, and also I feel nothing and everything simultaneously? I went to therapy. Dr. Morrison had helped me through the divorce, through various career anxieties, through the generalized depression that comes from being alive in the 21st century. She was kind and patient when I told her everything. How do you feel about your mother now? She asked. I don't know. I pulled my sleeves over my hands. Angry. Betrayed. But also, she's dead. She's been dead for 8 years. I can't confront her. I can't ask her why she didn't tell me, why she let me grow up thinking something was wrong with me. Do you think something was wrong with you? I don't know anymore. I thought I'd worked through that. Accepted that Dad, Robert, was just emotionally limited. But now I know he was emotionally limited specifically toward me. On purpose. Does that make it better or worse? Dr. Morrison didn't answer, because there was no answer. I started going through Mom's things next. I'd boxed them up when she died, stored them in my guest room closet, never quite ready to deal with them. Now I was looking for, what? Evidence? Justification? Some sign that she'd regretted her choices? I found her journals in the 3rd box. Leather-bound, spanning decades. I almost didn't read them. It felt like a violation, even though she was gone, even though she'd violated me first by never telling the truth. The entry from February 1983 was short. Asterisk told Robert today. He was quiet for so long I thought he'd left the room. Then he asked if I was keeping it. I said yes. He asked if I'd told Em. I said no, and I won't. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted our marriage. He said he'd try. I don't think either of us believes it, asterisk. June 1983. Asterisk Sarah was born yesterday. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. She has Michael's eyes. Robert held her for exactly 30 seconds, then handed her to the nurse. I saw his face. This is going to be harder than I thought. September 1985. Sarah asked today why Daddy never plays with her like Amanda's daddy. I didn't know what to say. Robert tries, I see him trying. But there's this wall. She's 2 years old, and she can already feel it. What have I done? There were hundreds of entries like that. Decades of guilt, of watching Robert fail to love me, of knowing it was her fault and not knowing how to fix it. The last entry was dated a week before she died. I made Robert promise again today that he'll never tell her. He was resistant, said maybe she deserves to know. I told him the truth would only hurt her more. That she's built a life on the foundation we gave her, shaky as it is. That pulling the rug out now serves no one but his conscience. He agreed, but I could see he wanted absolution. Men always do, I laughed when I read that. A bitter, broken sound in my empty apartment. She knew. She knew exactly what his confession would do to me, and she tried to prevent it, and she failed because she died first. 3 months after Dad's death, I drove past Michael Hendrick's old house. I don't know what I was looking for. A connection? A sense of belonging? The house was a tidy colonial in a family-friendly neighborhood, swing set in the backyard visible from the street. Someone else lived there now. There was a different car in the driveway, different curtains in the windows. He'd raised his daughters here. Jennifer and Amanda. My half-sisters. They'd grown up 20 minutes away from me, and we'd never known. Never passed each other in the grocery store, never sat in the same movie theater, never existed in each other's orbits. I pulled up Jennifer's Facebook again that night. She'd posted about her father's birthday. Would have been 68 today. Miss you every day, Dad. The comments were full of heart emojis and people sharing memories. He coached softball. He made terrible puns. He cried at every graduation. He sounded like a good father. The kind who showed up. The kind who loved loudly. I wrote a message 3 times and deleted it 3 times. Hi Jennifer, you don't know me, but... Hi, this is going to sound crazy, but... Hi, I think we might be related. What right did I have? Their grief was clean. Their memories intact. I could shatter that, introduce doubt and pain and questions that had no good answers. For what? So I'd feel less alone? I closed the laptop. Dr. Morrison asked if I'd thought about contacting them. It's your genetic family, she said gently. You have a right to know them, if you want to. Do I? I pulled at a thread on the couch cushion. They have a right to their lives as they are. I'm just collateral damage from choices people made 40 years ago. Why should they have to deal with that? Why should you have to deal with it alone? Fair question. No good answer. I sold Dad's house in April. Kept a few things, Mom's journals, some photos, the letter. Donated the rest. The new owners were a young couple, pregnant with their first child. They walked through the rooms talking about paint colors and nurseries, and I felt nothing. This house had never been a home. Why would I mourn it? The money from the sale plus the life insurance gave me enough to do something dramatic. Quit my job, travel, start over somewhere new. All the things people do when they're trying to outrun themselves. I didn't do any of that. I went back to work. I kept my routines. I existed in the life I'd built, even though the foundation had turned out to be sand. Sometimes I drive past the cemetery. I've only visited the grave once, right after the funeral. There's nothing to say to him. To either of them. Mom's buried 3 plots over. They'd purchased them together years ago, planning to spend eternity side by side. The irony isn't lost on me. I still have Jennifer and Amanda's contact information saved. Every few months, I hover over the message button. Type something. Delete it. Close the app. Maybe someday I'll reach out. Maybe I'll decide I have a right to know my sisters, to claim some piece of the father I never had. Maybe they'll welcome me, or maybe they'll be angry, or maybe they'll just be confused. Or maybe I'll take this to my grave the way Dad should have. Let them keep their memories clean. Let Michael Hendricks stay exactly who they think he was. I turned 42 last month. No party, just dinner with David and a couple of friends who don't know the whole story. They know my father died last year. They know it was complicated. That's enough. I wonder sometimes what would have happened if Mom had told Michael. If he'd known, would he have left his wife? Would I have grown up with a father who wanted me, who looked at me and saw a daughter instead of a mistake? Would I be different? Happier? More whole? Pointless questions. The past is fixed, and I'm the result of it. Dr. Morrison asked recently if I'd forgiven them. Mom and Dad both. I don't think forgiveness is the right word, I said. I understand them better now. Mom was trapped by her own choices, and Dad was trapped by hers too. They were just people, flawed and scared and trying to manage an impossible situation. They both failed, in different ways. And you? I'm still here. I'm still standing. That's not nothing. She smiled. No. It's definitely not nothing. The truth is, I don't know if I've forgiven them. I don't know if I ever will. Some days the anger is fresh, and I want to scream at graves that can't hear me. Some days I feel nothing at all, just the dull ache of having been someone's burden for 41 years. But I'm learning to live with it. The not knowing. The unanswered questions. The loss of 3 parents in different ways, one who couldn't love me, one who lied to protect me, one who never knew I existed. I keep Dad's letter in my nightstand drawer. I don't read it often, but it's there. Evidence that he saw what he did. That he knew. That he was sorry, even if sorry doesn't fix anything. Michael Hendricks' photo is there too. I look at it sometimes, trying to see myself in his features. Trying to imagine what his voice sounded like, what his laugh sounded like. Trying to build a father from fragments and guesses. Jennifer posted yesterday. Family photo, her, Amanda, their kids, spouses, everyone gathered for Amanda's birthday. They look happy. Complete. I stared at it for a long time, zooming in on faces, looking for traces of myself in their smiles. Then I closed the app. Maybe someday. Maybe never. Both futures sit in front of me, equally possible, equally terrifying. The thing about deathbed confessions is that they're for the dying, not the living. Dad needed to unburden himself before he went, needed to believe that truth was always better than lies. But truth without context, without time to process, without the other party there to defend themselves, that's not closure. That's just cruelty dressed up as honesty. I wish he'd taken it to the grave. I wish I still believed my childhood was just cold instead of purposefully distant. I wish my mother's memory wasn't tainted by 40 years of conscious deception. I wish I didn't know that 20 minutes away, I have sisters who share my blood but not my history. But we don't get to choose what we know. We only get to choose what we do with it. Most days, I choose to get up. Go to work. Meet friends for coffee. Live my life as if the ground beneath me is solid, even though I know better now. Some days, that's enough. Some days, it has to be. I still have their numbers saved. Jennifer and Amanda. My father's daughters. My sisters. The cursor blinks in the empty message box. I close the app. Tomorrow, maybe. Or the day after. Or never. All three options feel equally true, equally impossible. And I carry that weight every single day.